Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Please introduce yourselves in chat. We have a really impressive room of very exciting talent. So please do engage with each other. My name is Maya Mufarek. I'm formerly CMO at Pharmacy2U and now a founder of Marketing Cube, a boutique growth strategy practice. I'm here today as your moderator. Thank you, Vic. So I'll be helping just, answering some questions as we go and then running the QA at the end. So as I said, drop any questions, don't wait, and then don't hesitate to introduce yourselves. Super high quality virtual room today. Quick on why I'm in the seat, I guess. Victoria and I have partnered on client engagements before, and her impact has been tremendous on accelerating companies' AI journeys with real immediate impact, even if they were coming from very far. So it was really good to see. And then I'm currently a fellow on her Agentic CMO accelerator, and then really very actively rebuilding my practice to be an agentic marketing consultancy. Actually, I've just launched the Maya Brain on Obsidian and kind of really moving the stack from, chat, assistant, workflow, agentic systems. Victoria is going to cover all of that. And I'll ping you guys a link in a minute if you're interested to know what this kind of slightly more, next stage infrastructure can look like for you guys too. So yeah, just really excited to learn alongside you today. Our host today, the one and only true agentic guru in marketing and beyond, Vic. She's an experienced multi-time CMO, exited founder. I mean, for me, really, the top 1% in agentic literacy is her, and she really lives and breathes what she teaches. So if you wonder how all those webinars come together, completely agentic with a lot of quality control. So I'm really not surprised that she goes viral all the time. And her sessions tend to be constantly oversubscribed. So really lucky that I've learned a lot from her and continue doing it. So over to you, Vic.
Thank you. Thank you. What an introduction, right? Like, I
Very
should just dive into the presentation straight away. So, we are talking today about how to become Agentic CMO and what is happening in Agentic marketing leadership. And the agenda is always fueled by your questions. Like, whenever you register and you answer about your preferences and problems and challenges, afterwards, I design webinar around it. So I'll talk about 3 levels of Agentic AI, how to become an agentic leader, what you need to do step by step, skills, top 5 marketing use cases, because everyone is asking, where do I start? What is the use case? And we'll talk about showcase. This is what gives me a lot of like showcasing my setup in Cowork. And I will also show you the live build. I'll give you a playbook similar to the playbooks I give to my Agentic CMO accelerator cohort that you can build. So Maya introduced myself, but the real story, I was a CMO, loved my experience as a full-time CMO, as a fractional CMO, and I started with AI very early. I launched my first course, AI and Marketing, in January 2023, and I just put it on Udemy. And now I have 15,000 students. People reach out to me asking for training, and all grew organically. And last year, I also was the founder of e-commerce brand, and I built some agents for my e-commerce brand, and I sold it at a higher valuation because of those agents, particularly SEO content agent that is working even now for the founder. And it all started building organically. My first client, my first AI engineer was my brother, who built a lot of agents for me. And this is how the practice evolved. And last year, by the way, because of the amazing mentorship from Maya, she said to me, look at these agentic skills you have. Why don't you launch it as a business? I launched Apply AI Co last year. And the whole idea was like, people know how to chat. How do they move to agentic growth? What is the journey for me, for company, for fractional CMOs? How do we do it as humans, but also as teams? And this ended up in a lot of training and consulting, and currently running Agentic CMO Accelerator that I absolutely love. I think I found my groove. And who are you? So this time we limited webinar to 300 people. And initially it is a webinar for marketers, but we do have also a lot of consultants and founders. I find that founders are always asking, How can I change? How can I reinvigorate my marketing? How can I make it agentic? What do I need to do step by step? Amazing brands in the room. So thank you for that. And all of you have the same challenges. You're stuck at a chat. Like, how do I move from chat to agents? What are the step by step? Where do I start? Too many tools and system. And my answer to you, tool is secondary. Your use case is primary. What exactly you want to do, what is the problem you're solving is primary. Picking the right use cases, and I will focus a lot on that. On brand quality at scale. Maya, please do share my previous webinar where I discussed how to have guardrails, quality assurance, how to have agents checking the work of other agents. Because we as humans should do only creative, high profile, high quality, high judgment roles. And trust and time, it's top questions every time in my webinars. But the most important, what I see whenever I talk to marketers, is the anxiety, the overwhelm, the emotional pain that people are feeling while embarking on this journey. And the biggest empathy I have for you guys on this call, but also for your teams, because the majority of people who are here, we are senior. So we went through resilience and building ourselves and growing and becoming better leaders. Like, can you imagine how your teams feel when their job is at risk? They hear AI content engineering coming. They see AI doing the work that they are doing better and faster. So we need to understand that agentic transformation is a human journey and requires us to step into leadership role, lead ourselves and lead others. And I saw that someone mentioned mindfulness in the chat. Whenever we have our live build, that is 1 hour and a half of building agent session, we do have a mindfulness break. Because I believe without embodiment and mindfulness and self-control and self-management, you won't be able to thrive. You will survive, but you won't thrive in the agentic world. Agentic world is a different level of mental fatigue and a different level of it requires from humans to grow in order to succeed. That's why if you're facing all the challenges you're facing, it's absolutely normal. Because we're not talking about software rollout. We are talking about how we re-engineer everything. Yourself, your team, your mindset, your operating system of the business, how you hire, how you promote, everything needs to be re-engineered. So what is agentic? Um, I shared it last time and people found it very, very useful to think about it. Agentic is 3 different levels that compound. You move on a journey. The first level is assistant. You call an assistant writes for you, does a reporting, does a sales proposal, one task, you are in control. And this task, you're almost like delegating a task to AI. Then you move a level up and you create automation that is multiple assistant chained together. So now instead of checking the work of one assistant or one step, you have 2, 3, 4 steps happening without your control. And here is trust that is happening. Like, you need to trust the system. You need to trust yourself to be able to design such system, but also to trust the system itself. And human checks only at the end of automation. And then you have agents that are more systems that take a goal, run on themselves, report back. They're proactive and autonomous. This is where the real scale starts, but it is a journey. What I see in a lot of impatient people, they're like, I want an agent. And I'm like, let's start with assistant. You can't just, your brain is it won't be capable of designing a good agent because you need to get on a journey of simple assistance, more complex automations, and then designing agents. And if you're thinking like, what do I do a day to day? How do I become an agentic leader? I came up with a framework that I observed that works for many CMOs, but also leaders in general. And I call it build, architect, and lead. So it's impossible to understand what agentic can do for you if you have never built an agent. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to understand use cases, to envision the challenges, to understand why data readiness is so important. You need to build as a leader. And when you build, you develop the skills of prompting, context engineering, and agent building. You have heard most probably of these skills. Then you get to a limitation of your building when you need engineers to help you build, but you are the subject matter expert. You know how marketing is run, how campaigns are run, how content is created, what good looks like. Like you are there to architect a system, to architect a workflow, to control the quality, and then link multiple workflow into agentic system. And then you are leading. You're leading yourself, you're leading the company, identifying use cases, creating roadmap, and the most important for me, human element of driving change. AI stalls because people resist. And people resist because they don't feel safe. How do you make them feel safe? How do you make them feel excited about AI and see the potential of agentic as the benefit for them personal and professional? And in this workshop, I want to focus on two skills. One of those is workflow architecture. And we talk a lot about workflows and automation and how do you start step by step. So most probably you are here. And when I say here, it's non-existent on on my slide. Most probably you're just talking to AI. You say, "Give me 3 ideas." "Oh, I don't like it." "Redo it, rewrite it. Here is my feedback." It's something called prompt chaining. Prompt chaining is very satisfying, but it's not agentic. You can't multiply it. So what you need to start doing, instead of having back and forth with talking to AI chat and using it as a chat, you start using it as a one-off assistant and you create mega prompt. The first challenge of every agentic marketer is, can you create one prompt that is fully mutually exclusive and has all the information it needs, it defines definition of done, it has all the context, and you get high quality output. So if you can create this mega prompt with quality output, you can afterwards also add connectors that allow you to take action and feed in live context. And now you can package mega prompt and context into an assistant. And in the word of a Cowork, it's project and skill. If you're on ChatGPT, it will be project and custom GPT. So now you have one assistant that does a job for you that is very useful and very high quality. Then the biggest challenge on the next level is, how do you package this assistant in a workflow? Because what I see, I join team trainings and some companies have lots of assistants, but they don't use them. So you need almost to re-engineer your work and say, now instead of doing research on my own, I use a research assistant. Or now instead of writing personalized email, I use personalized emails. It needs to be reinforced in your everyday work. Everyone in your marketing team does. And then when you have two free assistants that work well, you can chain them. Meaning, instead of doing one assistant, you do two, three assistants together, and that creates automation, and this is where a lot of value comes. So today I will focus how to move to from assistant to automation, how to think in this workflow architecture skill that is becoming so useful. I even see now on LinkedIn job ads saying, we are hiring for an architect, when in fact I think all of you can become those architects by just using the logic. And when we're talking about workflow architecture, people say to me, okay, where do I apply it? What should AI? And this is a skill. Defining what is AIable and what is not is a skill. Same as now all of you have CMS, for example, you know that your content management system has particular features and can do some things, but it can't send emails or it can't post LinkedIn posts. You're not going with those tasks to your CMS. Agents have limitation, and there is a second skill that is really important, and I call it AI use case identification. Can you look at all your work and understand where agents are useful? And it's interesting, when I started training people, I instinctively, instead of talking about tools and features, I talked about use cases, because for me as a marketer, we're not talking about features, we talk about jobs, using jobs to be done framework. We talk about like, okay, there is a deep research as a feature. How does it translate in my job as a marketer? Oh, I can do competitive research, or I can scrape meta ad library and get inspiration from there. So I care how I can transform my everyday life with a use case rather than looking at what a feature can do or how a project works that is not very meaningful to my life. And interestingly enough, you know that something is working when there is INSEAD or Harvard or any other school has a research. INSEAD and Harvard, they ran a research and they had two groups and they identified that the group that had case study showing how other companies reorganized their processes performed much better. And for me, it shows two things. Like, first, as marketers, we love best practices, and this is how we learn. We learn from each other. Second, knowing use cases from other companies increases your capacity to see where AI is useful, what problems AI can solve. And second, that there is this idea of workflow architecture. You can't put AI as a cherry on top. AI needs to be deeply embedded into your workflow. You need to completely rethink and reorganize how you do things. From the strategy to operations to people to leadership to how you give feedback, how you structure your data, where your data, like there are so many areas of reorganization. So for me, the question is not what AI tool to use, because the tool proliferation is crazy. If you focus on tools, you get away in technology rather than staying in the I'm driving business transformation. For me, the question is, where does AI reshape my workflows? What are the problems AI can solve? And here is a really fast top 5 use cases that any marketing team can implement tomorrow. Content repurposing and production. Again, AI is not amazing at producing content without your input. You need to put a lot of input of your messaging, your brand voice, your tone of voice in order afterwards to produce content. This is why I call it content repurposing rather than content creation. Content creation will be generic, it will be mediocre. You need to put your brand soul and your thought leadership. And this is why I think in the future, creative people, thought leaders will be much more powerful because this is what will feed AI and will make you unique. And I talk about content, by the way, in my previous webinar a lot. Case study number 2, reporting and insight generation. Huge. Like the way AI can analyze data and combine it and structure, it's beyond human. There is no human who can do it. Again, you need to have your house in order. Data readiness becomes a huge issue. When your conversion is called conversion 25, AI can't understand what kind of conversion you're talking to. So your naming, your taxonomy, your organization either creates a competitive advantage in the age of AI or is that deteriorating your opportunities in that. So case study number 2, you can connect all your tools to Claude and do a lot on reporting. Lead enrichment qualification, B2B is booming. And in general, by the way, I see that B2B is much ahead on AI than B2C companies because RevOps were always there and B2B was always about go-to-market and pipeline, connecting tools and personalization. So they picked up on agentic much faster because of their organization. And D2C companies are just, slow on that front. Competitive intelligence, like that is my favorite topic. Like the things you can do, monitoring your competitors, scraping your competitors, analyzing reviews, doing synthetic persona. That is my favorite, absolutely favorite skill I have is synthetic persona of a CMO. I shared it before. One reason of why my webinars get attention and virality is because everything I do, I pass through synthetic persona, my program designs, my messaging, my hooks. Everything is passed via a synthetic persona that is called Think Like a CMO. And this persona tells me if what I'm doing is aligned with CMO needs, verbatims, copy swiping is there. So this gives me a lot of empathy created via Agentic AI with this segment. Although I'm part of this segment, I still find it so useful to have synthetic persona and campaign management. Today we'll be talking about campaigns because campaigns are becoming a huge topic in agentic companies and when they're going to agentic, particularly because product is full on agentic. They now can ship much faster the features. They launch much faster, and that creates a bottleneck on the marketing side. Let's talk about campaign management and what it stands and what it is, because it's such a big area of marketing. And in every company, there are different types of campaigns. Depending who you are, you can have seasonal promotions, you can have thought leadership webinars, you can have product launches or retention. Don't forget about retention campaigns or ABM campaigns. You can have different types of campaigns. But in all these areas, the cycle time shifts from 2-3 months previously to 7-14 days. And to give you some of examples, I'm very inspired by Intercom and what they did by launching Thin, the AI product. But and by the way, implementing Claude Code company-wide. Not mentioning that they had to say goodbye to 30% of their team members who were not aligned on the agentic journey. But what they managed to achieve is to build agentic first company, to rebuild it. I find that AI native companies have a little bit of an edge because they start from scratch, nothing is there. But transforming a huge company like Intercom into agentic, that is impressive for me. So, and again, engineership, Claude skills are created and trained on how customers talk, and then the output is sales and marketing assets. And the tier 1 launch is 8 days. And for everyone on the call, we do understand that to relaunch everything at the scale of Intercom in 8 days, that is impressive. And second example that I like that is from 11 Labs, and I particularly like because I think a lot like, what is my core asset? Like whenever I design campaign, I think for a lot of companies, core asset is a brief. For other companies, it's messaging. But I love that for 11 Labs, because they're so AI native and so short, they're like, our core asset is a post on X. We whatever we launch, we say, right, how we're going to communicate it in 2 sentences. And these 2 sentences become the essence of our campaign. And afterwards, you have a launch agent that just repurposes everything on multiple assets. And this example is from last year, and their launch asset is just a project. I also want us to be aware, like, we don't need mega complex OpenClaw. I mean, if you want, you can play with OpenClaw, but you can do it with a simple launch agent, with a project or with a skill. The question is, how do you translate your expertise, your marketing expertise, within that skill? This is where the challenge lies. And I wanted to start maybe to pause and say, are you doing campaign management now? How do you do it? What are the steps? What are the processes? What takes longer? What is your core asset? What do you start with that gets afterwards repurposed on different assets? And maybe you'll discover that you don't have one, and then the whole idea is to create a core asset that gets a lot of human input and approval. And after that, you take this core asset and you proliferate and distribute it in different channels. If you can start thinking about it, a whole other experience of demoing will be useful for you. But I want to share how I do it at Applied AI Academy. And I think it's useful because some of my clients don't want to share their data. So it's difficult to share. And also, I find that I want to share the messiness of building, rebuilding, and refining agents. Go with me on a journey. And from your side, I think it's important to start thinking, what are the campaigns for me? What are the types of campaigns? How do I do it now? What parts of this process, of this workflow, is AIable, and what part requires a lot of creativity and a lot of judgment? So for Applied AI Academy, we run webinars, and webinars is absolutely all automated. And then there is program launch. Program launch, if you think it's quite a difficult process for everyone who worked in education, to launch a new program, it might be months. For university, it's years. Here, I think it takes 2 weeks from idea to ready assets for Applied AI Academy to launch with a very limited resources. And I'll be sharing my setup in Cowork together with Notion. I'll start with some definitions. So in Cowork, same as in ChatGPT, all the context lives in a project. And project becomes that context and memory container that remembers past campaigns and assets and results and audience data. It remembers your history. And then you have skills. And here you can see my skills that I currently have that are reusable playbooks. You build the skills that are aligned with the way you do things, because a LinkedIn writer for one company will not be the same because the styles will be different, messaging will be different. And then you have connectors, how you connect it all in one system. And in my case, I will show you connectors to G Drive, connection to Notion, and more I'm falling in love with the Notion connector. And there is a connector to Framer, that is my CMS. It's not the best, by the way, connector, because I find that Webflow is absolutely the best connector that it is in terms of connecting the system. Welcome, welcome. Let me move you. Welcome, by the way. It's quite, if someone has ever shared they are working co-work, it's quite a vulnerable journey. First of all, let's look at the organization. People organize projects in different shape and form. For me, I realized that I need to distinguish program design, marketing, and strategy, and all the sales activities. You will see that a lot of people organize everything in one project, in one folder. That was my initial setup. And then I realized that the clash was massive. The way I talk in a sales emails, marketing emails, and program design is completely different tone of voice, completely different density of information. And my setup was hallucinating on having marketing assets that were very educational, or educational assets that are very conversational. So this is why I had to split it. People ask me a lot, how do you design the folders? I'm like, it's all about your operating system. What is unique about you? What workflows you have? How do you create value? What every part of your business needs to know. So for me, marketing is one folder that has, as you know, in Cowork, it's a local folder. And in this local folder, it's all governed by a file. You can, by the way, use instructions here, and it's all governed by a file called Claude MD. I'll pause it here, Maya, by the way.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
going,
pause for a second. I think people are
yeah,
asking what
give
they're
me a
looking at.
question.
No, they're just asking what they're looking at. So do you want to just orient people in Claude and how you're in co-work right now versus chat? I think a bunch of people
Yeah,
haven't seen this interface.
yeah. So Claude has three distinct products. And a lot of people say to me like, oh, Claude chats, they work into chat. That is, you can see it here. Then you have Cowork, and then you also have Claude Code. They made a very interesting product decision because they have them all in one interface. When ChatGPT has the same product. ChatGPT has ChatGPT Chat and it has Codex. Codex is the product that is equivalent to Code, but they are two different platforms. Here, everything is in one interface, but in fact, it's a completely different product. And why I love Cowork? Because it's the easiest agentic tool on the market. So if you're like, I'm in the chat, are you in a Claude chat or ChatGPT chat or Gemini chat, and you're like, I want to go agentic, your options are Cowork, Code, NA10, OpenClaw, like Lindy, like all the, or Copilot Studio, like these are your options. And from all these options, believe my experience, Cowork is just the easiest to set up. It's almost like an entry door into the world of agentic. And the setup of Cowork is the following. You have projects that I really see my projects as my teams, like, and as a function, as a role, responsibility, outcome, and output. And then within the folder, within that team, There are a lot of
I'm
workflows
gonna
that are
try to
happening.
mute them. I'm not sure who unfortunately came out of mute. If you can guys all mute yourselves, please.
Yeah, we'll not have then ugly echo.
Echo,
Y-
yeah.
Yeah, so you design your work within a folder because the benefit of this folder, it's almost like an area that has instructions. It knows where the documents lie. It has memory. It has a lot of context that you can upload. For example, in my case, it knows my content strategy. It has my inspiration folder. It knows what are the source. It knows what campaigns I launched in the past. And for everyone who is like, oh my God, it's a lot to organize, just don't worry. Cowork can organize all this information for you, feed it from the right sources, and create beautiful organizations. So, Cowork can help you with these tasks. But that organization allows me to create a brain for the work I'm doing that has context and memory. Maya, any questions on that front?
Yes, we started getting some questions. So the very first one, I'm going to start from the bottom. So David is asking, is it fair to draw the analogy that Cowork is a lot like Notebook LM?
No, Notebook LM, it has more of a project capabilities, but it doesn't allow you to create scalable agents and skills. So I wouldn't put them on the same on the same. If I were to give you an analogy, so this agentic platform can connect with multiple tools and can allow you any capabilities from these tools. They can travel in a system. So these are the benefits. So it becomes that that tool that constantly thinks and iterates based on your task while feeding documents and executes in different tools. And I'll share some examples of that. But for me, it's not. And I think Cowork is the only tool that can do it on the market that is business people friendly. ChatGPT had an attempt to launch Agent Kit that everyone in the community thought that is very difficult. And then there are more complex agent building tools. But if you wanted to think like what I define as an agent is a tool that has context and remembers, a tool that has ability to execute without you telling the tool what to, like it can iterate until it is done, a tool that has predefined tasks, playbooks, how you like it, and also a tool that can connect with other tools and feed information or trigger actions.
Great, thanks, Vic. There's a question around how does that folding structure get set up?
So when you start, you literally set up a folder saying my business, and you put everything that you think AI needs to know to execute the tasks. So it's a backward design. You think first, what do I want my agents to do? And then you say what information they need to do the tasks I want them to do. Think about it as onboarding a new person. When you onboard a new person, you say, okay, this is all the context from my previous activity you need to know to do your job. And this is your job. I expect from you to deliver this output and and also these outcomes. I think as soon as you link it to outcomes, you can go into more agentic design. So that is a useful way to think. So now in this case, we're saying, I want a campaign manager. By the way, let me go into my Claude MD. I think this is exactly what it is saying. So this is, I write like almost like a brief saying, this is a folder, every campaign I've applied AI code goes in this folder. There are live reference documents that you need to look, and there are public faces. So it frames at once that this is a folder for running campaigns, and this is the type of campaigns you can run, webinars and program launches. So this is how you frame what your agent is for and what your agent can do, and that becomes the context for your agent. Um, and in my playbook, I think Maya, it's time to share with people also the playbook. I'll share with
Yes.
you step by step how to do it, how to set up a simple folder, and think about it in the very simplistic. By the way, We as marketers, we're used to write briefs and we used to write welcome onboarding documents. This is exactly what you're doing. You are my marketing manager. You need to launch campaigns. These are all the things you need to know. And these are all the things I want you to do. And because Cowork works on a local desktop, it creates a local folder. So it literally created a folder and created a folder, and all output originally from Cowork is within this folder. And in this demo, I want to share with you another way of collaborating with the tools, because Cowork has ability not only to remember your context, it has also two absolutely beautiful agentic features. One is called skills. Skills is a playbook. It's as a company, when I write landing page, this is how I write landing page. I have on-brand landing page. I have house style. It's done based on the campaign brief. This is what in the campaign. This is how I think about landing page copywriting. So you can, in skill, package your unique way of doing things. And apart from skills, it has connectors. So for me, for the person who asked about Notebook LM, as soon as you have context, and Notebook LM has a lot of context. And Notebook LM, by the way, started to have also some MCP connector. But as soon as you have context, a lot of skills, and you have connectors, this is where the value compounds. And in my case, you can see I have a lot of connectors, and I want to talk about connector to Notion that I find absolutely incredible. Maya, if there are no other questions, I'll move really fast and share.
Yeah, I think, yeah, let's go into the playbook and then we'll pick up a few more for the end.
Yeah, perfect. So what I did initially, I set up my Cowork and connected it to Notion. So what is important for me is to say, how can I collaborate with agents better? And how I can have an output that is shareable, editable, and commentable. So currently in SharePoint integration and Google Drive integration, when you work with agent, the output is read write only. And it's done because of the security reasons. And I do understand privacy, and a lot of companies are just not ready to give such access. But what is amazing is that in Notion, you can have write, read, comment, and multiple functions and edit function that is amazing. So, for example, when I launch a new program or new campaign, I ask Cowork to create a brief, and this is what is happening. Claude creates a brief for me, and then I can go comment, give my feedback based on this brief. As you can see over here, um, uh, Claude can also comment on my brief and give me feedback. I can also give to Claude tasks via comment function and ask to publish or redo things. So now Claude and Notion are becoming one system where collaboration is happening, and I have a really beautiful way of looking at the comments in a collaboration. And to give an example for today, Claude wrote a blog post for me, and I asked to rename several things. It did rename and looked also at some other suggestion how to do it. And also I asked to rewrite it based on the skill. And now it needs also to publish it. You can even automatically publish it in Framer. And why I love about this collaboration, because a lot of people, as you might know, they just collaborate within the Cowork, and you can do the same. You can just give all the tasks here, but then it's all in different chats and it's not as visually appealing. When in Notion, you can really design a system where you work and collaborate with the agent in a straightforward way. Any questions on that front?
No, I think so far so good.
I had a
And so,
quick question. Sorry, is that
Yeah.
okay?
yeah, go on.
Yeah, jump in. Like this is how, by the way, this is a micro demonstration of live builds. I think I saw Gail is here. Like on live builds, everyone jumps in and saying, how are you doing it? And ask questions. So go on.
Thank you. So I just wanted to check what you mean with the Notion, because I haven't really been using Notion much at all. Is that when you're using Cloud Cowork and it generates a document for you, if you link it to be a document generated in Notion, you can have that back and forth and editability
Yeah.
within Claude. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Versus when you have the Word document, but when you have the Word document, you can also edit a bit,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Anna, spot on. So I'll share with you, and also like there are multiple reasons why I share Notion with you. So whenever a company creates an MCP that is a connector to connect to Claude or ChatGPT with LLM, it tells these are the rights I'm giving, these are the tools I'm giving. And the problem with Google Drive, like look at these tools. All it can do is download file, get file metadata, list, copy file and create file. It can't modify, it can't read your comments, it can't delete. That I do understand why it is done, but also like how limited is collaboration with Google Drive, and the same with SharePoint. And when you look at Notion, you can literally get comments, get teams, users, database, delete, create comments. This is what allows you to have that seamless collaboration that I find just much more joyful because I have everything in one document rather than having in different chats and then remembering what I said to Claude 3 days ago. Another thing to know in the Notion, and it's highlighted in your sharing in the playbook, you can select a particular workspace and give access only to that workspace. Um, the biggest pushback I have with companies, they're saying, I don't want to connect Claude or ChatGPT to any tools. And I'm like, AI is as productive as information you give to it. If you don't give it access to information, it's a generic smart intern, very generic. It's not yours. It's not personalized. So when you connect Notion, you can literally select what workspace you give. So if you are in a company that is really cautious about connectors, my advice to you, try Notion, create a fresh workspace and try one area. For example, you can say, I want to do content or reporting. Just try one area and feed information from this area. I think reporting people might be also like it's private information, but if you start with content is public. I can scrape your website and tell you exactly what is your messaging and tone of voice today, right? So you can create a workspace and give access only to that workspace. And then there is read, write, comment, there is collaboration that is beautifully happening within a container of Notion, where Notion becomes the interface of you working with agents and triggering different skills and executing different tasks. Yeah. And I also
Thank
wanted to share, thank you. And I wanted to share like what is possible. For example, what I was doing today, just to see what is possible. So first I asked to reply to my comments and execute what I asked for. So it just read all my comments and replied to them. And this is what I was sharing with you. Then it also checked some consistency and launch window of the program. So it looked at the Agentic Marketing Accelerator program launch, read the brief, understood what are the issues there, replied to every comment. And after that, also drafted new assets. So it literally said, these are the assets we have, and I rewrote and made them consistent. And for anyone on the marketers on the call, consistency is key, right? Uh, and and again, then I asked her to write a blog post for me. So it literally went to Notion and wrote this beautiful blog post that I checked. And when I check, by the way, I also give feedback. You can give feedback in line, or you can give feedback on top of Notion. And then it reads my feedback and replies to my feedback. So we have this idea of collaborating within this tool while also connecting other tools together. So that was the task that it can do. Then I can give feedback and add some more information in a straightforward way. Again, it rewrote everything and wrote some emails that was beautiful and came up with a plan that I need to also to check how to send emails to different cohorts, analyzed my audience, and created an email plan and segmentation, how to promote Agentic Marketing Accelerator to CMOs and to marketing managers specifically. So it all came up with a launch plan within the constraint of a brief that is a starting point for me, and created different assets that I can either use manually or create integration and publish automatically. I'll pause on that.
Great, thank you. Vic, I mean, the slightly tactical questions I've answered here and there. Please do jump in, anyone who has a kind of wider question that I haven't provided an answer to yet.
Yeah.
But maybe start with, I think, a question that just came through and I quickly answered, but I think there's so much conversation around, the price of those tokens and how much people are spending. I mean, you and I are on the max profile and we are investing in that, but do you want to share a little bit about that?
It can get expensive depending what you do and how many automations you run. I'm low on automation, and within Cowork there is scheduled that allows you to automate a lot of actions, and I'm low on that. So here you can create tasks that run every week, every day. For me, the way I look, it took me 2 days to create a landing page, brochure, emails, application journey with a marketing manager, where they were doing the majority of work with AI, and I was just checking the output. The like such project within the team, and I ran before. I was CMO for online university. Launching a program for online university would take me 4 weeks, right, of 5 people. So if you think the efficiency you get on a human time, and what is the value of human time versus what agents can do operationally, it's incredible. The question I would ask, are you using AI ethically? That is another question. Or are you doing iteration after iteration that doesn't make sense? That is another question. But you can waste a lot of other resources too. But I find as a force of good rather than wasteful ability if you are using it rightly. And this is where I think playbook comes to mind. And thank you, Maya, for sharing. So I wrote for you a playbook. It's very similar to the playbook that Agentic CMO Accelerator runs, that guides you step by step how to try the same setup, how to install Claude Cowork, how to connect it to Notion, how to think through campaign, how to create your project. It even advises you what you can put as a minimum viable project. Everything that is in yellow, it's modifiable. It's my input. You make it yours. And you think about it from the perspective, I have an intern. How can I run this intern? How you can brainstorm concepts with the AI is amazing at brainstorming. And how you can create brief and Notion and check this Notion collaboration. Because I find it brings AI to life when you can see that it can collaborate within your document. And my prediction that Google Docs will launch the same capability within 2-3 months, because Notion is getting so much traction because of that. You can also draft a launch email using your past examples. AI is amazing at extracting your knowledge from past examples. Whenever you give it context, it iterates. You can also build a skill that is almost like as easy as saying, build me a skill, and it will build and package it together, and try to adapt more of like how I would use campaign management process in my organization. Because what I'm sharing here is a small showcase of what is possible. But as I shared in my example, you can add landing page skills, you can add blog writing skills, you can add LinkedIn outreach, you can have multiple campaigns afterwards by connecting your cowork with different systems. And I think this is where the power comes. The power comes in first test the playbook and see how it works for you. Give me feedback on that. And second, rethink it and adjust it to yourself. The power is definitely in building and trying it for yourself. I described here my whole system and how I do segmentation, campaign briefs, launch plans, and how I produce assets. And I particularly love pushing everything to CMS when it was one button that saves tons of time. Like currently, there are still limitations on images and new components, but it's not yet. I think that agentic will evolve, that everything will be possible with one button. And collaboration in Notion that I find so future looking. Like it shows us how collaboration will happen. When agent drafts a Notion that you can comment and agent replies and applies your knowledge. And you have all the collaboration within more native tool to us. I know a lot of marketers are using Notion for project management and for also for collaboration. It's much more beautiful than in chats. Some of the comments get lost. And you have the playbook. Please give it a go. Building is the first step to becoming agentic and mastering this mindset. And for me, whenever I run webinars, I say, for me, action is the most important. You get quite a lot of knowledge of how to move past chat and how to start building agents. And I love seeing when people say, I took it, I implemented it, and it's really working for you. Because there are people, I see this gap between people who want to go agentic but not building, and people who are really, really embracing it. Don't get stuck in the chat, move past the chat and build agentic marketing system. If you like, and if you'd like to join a more structured approach and build with others and be guided and doing it in a group, because this is how a lot of us learn, we are running Agentic CMO Accelerator, cohort 2, where 20 CMOs and marketing leaders are building and learning together. It is fun. It gets you past this thinking of how you can redesign your organization to become agentic. We have amazing people in the first cohort building, sharing their journey and sharing also the challenges. Maya is booming by creating an obsidian brain and downloading everything she knows into a very flexible, connected database that any agent can ingest. So you can really learn how to leave legacy, but also stop doing the work and start designing agents that do the work for you and you do the thinking. This is what we're meant to do as humans. And Agentic CMO teaches you how to build, how to architect, how to lead transformation within your company. And I think the leadership aspect is the most important. How do you create change? How do you guide your team on the journey? What are the toolkits of driving the interest and excitement? And how do you decide what to launch and to have the biggest impact for your business? And apart from this, we are also launching Become the Agentic Marketer, because a lot of CMOs said, I want to train my team. I want my team to know how to build agents. And it's a 4-week program where we're only building. And the big focus is on quality, because I find that quality of output is the most important. Anyone can create a copy. High quality copy is key. And we're growing as a team. I started this journey with my brother. Then super blessed to have Nicola join me, and she's a program lead and helps with a lot of executive coaching around adoption. And Sergio is joining on the Agentic Marketing Accelerator. And Sergio is an AI content engineer working for Frasers that owns Sports Direct and Flannel. So it is happening. AI content engineering is a real job, and I see the most demand for workflow architecture and thinking who can drive agentic. So Sergio and I collaborated together on a geo content production project that I loved working. Like his attention to details was just my standards. So we will be co-teaching the Agentic Marketing Accelerator that is very focused on content. And if you joined and said, like, what can I do next? I mean, you need to start. It's like fitness. You can't get a six pack by watching me exercise. You have to exercise. Guys, you lead yourself first before leading others. Your team needs your guidance. They are anxious about their future, their job, what to do. And the noise on LinkedIn, Twitter, X, and everywhere is just not helping. What is your commitment? How can you start from mega prompt to assistant to workflow? Try campaign launch agent. Cowork is the simplest system to master from all other. Like I do have an open claw agent that it took me 2 days with an engineer to set up. This is not what I'm like. There are simple steps of how you can do on your own. Just commit. Commitment is the most important. And if you feel that you would like to join and build together with other CMOs or with other marketing managers, please join. I love absolutely running the cohort programs, the energy, the sharing, the use cases, and seeing how people go through from AI chat to really building marketing strategy automations or rethinking their work. It is very empowering. And on this, I think I'm quite on time.
Bang on time, well done. A lot of people starting dropping off, but a lot of love on chat with everyone really finding it super insightful. Mildly overwhelming, someone said, and I think that's the
Oh,
correct term. Wasn't like inspiring and all of that. So yeah, so thanks everyone. There's maybe a couple of questions that we didn't get to, but if you want to jump on and ask them, please feel free to. Vic and I can hang for a little longer. Um,
yeah. Guys, think about it. Like, I wanted to address everyone who's like, what AI tool to use? Is this the tool? Like, just forget about tools. It's not about tools. It's not how we think as business people and as a marketers. We're not waking up in the morning saying, I need HubSpot. That is not how, like, we say, current system is not working, or here is the problem that I can't solve. Here is the opportunity. I want to pursue it. And then you go into selecting the tool. The tool is secondary. What are you building? And for that, you need to know what is possible. And for that, you need to build. As soon as you start building, you're like, oh, this is the limitation. And I think Gail is here from cohort one. Like Gail is like, oh, my SCT team has terrible organization of documents, and I won't be able to enjoy. Like this is, I think, was your first learning on the first class. Like that is the learning that makes you realize that how operational your team is ready to AI or not. Like building is so powerful. If I can give you just one message, just start building, and afterwards you can also will realize how to encourage others to build with you.
like there's a request for such a session for IT teams, and I don't know if by IT we mean IT or Eng, but a mix of that
Uh,
apparently. So
uh,
here's your further
I,
expansion request.
IT system. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for that. For now, we are running only for marketers. We are thinking about Agentic Founder Accelerator. I have
Yeah.
had
Watch
a,
that space.
a lot of requests from founders. Is like, how do I become agentic to lead my company? So maybe IT will be next. I think, Ali, let me know if you think more about product and technology, because technology is already on Cloud Code. Yeah, it's already there. So I think product is definitely the the if your software companies normally starts with the technology, then it's product, and then it's marketing catching up because it becomes a bottleneck as soon as technology and products start shipping. Yeah,
Team is voting yes to founder program, so you'll be on the list as soon as it launches.
yeah. Found I'm even thinking to go offline. And
Yes, yes, we might be going offline. Yes.
thank you so much, everyone. I'll share the recording and the presentation and the playbook. Start building. Commit to your journey. It's a very insightful, and you can transform not only professional life. Think about what agents you can build for your personal life. It is
Okay.
different level. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I have
everyone.
one. Sorry.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
jump in.
Thank
You
you
want to
so.
ask a
Yeah,
question?
yeah. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
asking, since I've been in chat this whole time, can I like
download my chat and use that as a starting point and upload it into Cowork?
Like on Slack. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So there are two options. The first option, you can migrate. If you have a project folder, you can migrate a project folder. If you don't have a project folder, then if you haven't done any projects, you have memory MD. So Claude automatically saves all your feedback. So what you can say, can you let me know everything is in your memory MD? I want to migrate my Claude chat instance to Claude Cowork. Help me with migration.
Okay.
And it will help you,
perfect.
and it will create you a file, and then you use that file as a starting point with your Cowork. And by the way, you can even just have a dump of information and say, this is all information I have. Can you help me organize this information and create a project for this particular company or this particular marketing function? You can even do it this way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? I'm happy to hang out. I know some people.
Nadim wants to know how to switch from ChatGPT to Claude.
So it's not that Claude. I love Claude. By the way, I'm not against ChatGPT because I'm system agnostic. I think ChatGPT was ahead of Claude last year, and then it lost it, a little bit lost it. But for everyone who asked, let me share, because if you go into settings, I do remember somewhere there is an option.
They do have a transition path that was set up when OpenAI decided to sign up some military deals. So you'll find it, no doubt, but basically you can just ask Claude to get all your ChatGPT.
Yeah. It does allow, I think maybe it's in general, they do change quite a lot the menu. So there is an option in your account, help me migrate from another provider, and it will show.
Basically, go to Claude Chat and say, I want to, and it will tell you exactly what it is. But there is this function which would be not obvious right now.
Capabilities. Import memory from other AI providers.
Well done. You found
it.
You
put start import. You have here a prompt. You copy this prompt. You go to ChatGPT. You put this. And by the way, I write similar to the prompt you can use. Export all my stored memories and any context you have learned about me from past conversation. Preserve my words, verbatim, preserve my messaging. So you copy this. You can put it in Claude Chat. You can put it in ChatGPT, and you paste it here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question, guys?
Giles, I don't know if you're still here. I know there was a couple of questions from you earlier. But I'll let you guys step in for whoever's still here. Great. Well,
perfect.
Exhausted the questions. Great. Thanks, everyone. That was so fun.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.